Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Ariels podcast, now with the Digit Network. Thanks so much for tuning in. I cannot believe this, but this is season 5. So thanks to you. This is a thriving podcast, reaching the corners of the world, all the women out there, and I'm so excited and proud to be with you. If you haven't listened to the Artist Entrepreneur podcast, my new podcast with Noah Dock and Amanda Ritchie, please check it out. It's going to be on this feed on Thursdays. We're 3 artists navigating our businesses. We have so much fun. Please check it out. It'll be in your inbox on Thursdays. And just announced September 26th to the 28th, I'll be at NECA, the New England Center for Circus Arts, for an 11-hour weekend silks immersion. So it's a retreat-esque without being a full retreat. And I'd love to see you there. It's picturesque Vermont. My flagship course, beginner to intermediate aerial silks, online for anybody in the world. And of course, Aero Rehab, which is meant to be the bridge between PT and your favorite aero class. I'm teaching all over the place this year. Austin, Oaxaca, Ohio, and DC this summer. And of course, NECA in the fall. Let's get started.
Between my son and this pregnancy, I've actually gotten, so with my son, I was unexplained infertility. And now I'm still technically unexplained infertility, but I have an added diagnosis of something called Asherman syndrome. And having Asherman syndrome puts me at a higher risk of the same things happening. So not the placenta not coming out intact and having like hemorrhaging later. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is like more likely to it wasn't a fluke. It's probably going to happen again. And I just have to mentally prepare myself for that. And so that is a bit daunting. And I feel like if I didn't have this diagnosis of Asherman's and my doctor didn't tell me like, oh, that's probably going to happen again, that I might have that amnesia. But like when he told me that, it was like, oh, everything's coming back and now I'm remembering it all and I'm probably going to have to do it all again.
Well, and you're retelling the story for this podcast too. But, but wait, can you explain what that is? I've never heard of that.
Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of a new thing to be diagnosed. In fact, my doctor is one of like the leading researchers on it. So he is Dr. Robinson with Shady Grove Fertility in Rockville, Maryland. And he's not a reproductive endocrinologist. He's a reproductive surgeon. So he's like a uterus specialist. And so I was sent to him because I was having issues growing my lining, because both my son and this pregnancy are IVF. And
oh, I see.
They monitor, like you get on these meds and they monitor your lining and they take all your like hormones and stuff like that. And even though my hormone levels in my bloods were spiking up and they kept having to up them and like they were monitoring to make sure I was at safe levels, my uterine lining was not responding. So they like finally sent me to Dr. Robinson, and he was like, I'm pretty sure you have Asherman syndrome. And what Asherman syndrome is basically chronic adhesions of the uterus and chronically low lining. And it's not something that you just happen to develop and grow into. It is a result of trauma to the uterus. So he said the manual removal of my placenta was trauma to the uterus. The hemorrhaging was trauma to the uterus. The D&C that I had for it was trauma. And then I actually have had a couple of minor surgeries through my infertility process. So I've had what's called hysteroscopies, operative hysteroscopies. And he's like, all of this is trauma to the uterus. And the more trauma to the uterus you have, the more likely you're to develop these chronic adhesions. And he's like, basically, the way he described it, which I thought was a great metaphor, if you think of the lining of your uterus as the grass in your front yard, every month the grass grows. And then when you have your period, you cut the grass and then it grows back. Like when you cut the grass, it grows back and you have to keep cutting the grass. However, if you are to take a shovel and dig a hole into your grass, that grass won't grow back. And so basically digging a hole into your grass is all that trauma. And so while the lining might not grow back, it might adhere to itself. It's basically like if you have a Band-Aid like you have a cut and sometimes the Band-Aid, you put a Band-Aid on it and the Band-Aid sticks to your cut. It's the same thing. It's what's happening in your uterus, but it's sticking to itself. So with him, I actually had to go through serial hysteroscopies. I had to have a hysteroscopy every 2 weeks until he was able to remove these adhesions. Because the idea behind it, to go back to my Band-Aid metaphor.
Yeah, I mean, the scar tissue, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of scar tissue, but it's more the fact that like if there's a cut in your uterus, it's like a fold in your uterus almost. Like it folds over on itself and then it like heals and scabs to itself. So it's like puckering and adhering to itself. And so we went in every 2 weeks. He would go in and he'd cut out any adhesions that were there. And so each time it got less and less adhesions. And basically, if we go in every 2 weeks, because they have to fill my uterine cavity with saline. And he said it was I said the Band-Aid sticks to your scab. But if you keep the Band-Aid loose and open, it's not going to stick to the scab. So just the mere fact that we were going into the cavity and opening it up with saline meant that less adhesions would actually form. So I ended up having to have 3 of these serial hysteroscopies to remove these adhesions.
Between your first and second pregnancy?
Yes. Yep. And
oh my God.
They were unmedicated.
Okay, wait, back up.
Yep.
Why?
So I will say I really love this doctor, but he was a man. So don't think he fully understands. So what he said was, and it was true, he said the adhesions, your uterine lining itself does not have any pain receptors. Now, further down into the muscle of your uterus, yes, if we were cutting into the muscle, it would. But the lining does not have pain receptors. But what he did not take into account is the fact that he has to go through my cervix. And it was like getting an IUD on crack, because the first one was 30 minutes long and he's fishing around in there. Like at one point, I'm in the stirrups. At one point I saw his elbow flare up as he's trying to get the angle, as I'm just like trying to breathe through this pain and cramping. Now I could feel the little instrument snipping, as in like I could feel the click of it, but I could not feel any cut. So I'm like, okay, he's right. The adhesions have no pain receptors, but my cervix does. Whatever the research or lack thereof of research says, I definitely felt it in my cervix and all the cramping. It was quite intense.
No, it just makes me really angry because like women are always being put through this. Mm-hmm. Always, whether it's an IUD or like anything, it's just like go in there, just like raw dogging it. And it's like, wow, your uterus is getting a lot of action.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. Now I need to know how long. Okay, first of all, how old are you now?
I'm 37.
You're 37. How long was this fertility journey? Because you're in your second IVF pregnancy. Like, when did you start? And why did you know you had to do that? Why did other things fail, or you had like health stuff going on, or him, your husband?
So me and my husband, we got married late 2017, and we decided that because we were in November 2017, and our honeymoon was scheduled for February 2018. So we were like, okay, we'll wait until after the honeymoon because I don't want to go on my honeymoon pregnant, and then we'll start trying. End of February 2018, we started trying, and in September 2018, I became pregnant, and it was like, wow, that's amazing. I was like, it took a little longer than I thought, but I'm pregnant. And then I had a chemical miscarriage. So at like 5 weeks and 5 days, bleeding happened and I lost it.
Okay, so you had a chemical pregnancy around 5 weeks.
Yes.
And would you have known if you weren't taking a pregnancy test that you're pregnant?
I could tell.
You could tell. Okay.
Yeah. So after that miscarriage, the doctors told me like, have a normal period and then you can start trying again. So we did. And I was like, oh, wow, I got pregnant on the first try after that miscarriage. This is amazing. And I go to my first OB appointment at 9 weeks, and they tell me there's no heartbeat and it's measuring 7 weeks. So it was a missed miscarriage. So I had been carrying around my dead baby for 2 weeks.
And that's not safe.
No. And so they gave me, I can't remember how to pronounce, but it's like misoprostol, which is basically, it's basically the same thing as an abortion. Until I had the manual placenta removal, that was the most painful experience. It was pretty awful. Lots of bleeding, I was vomiting from the pain. And it was 2 hours into taking the medicine. It ramps up for like another 2 hours, and then it kind of petered off, and I was just exhausted. So my OB told me, you're young and you had back-to-back miscarriages. If you want to talk to a fertility specialist, you can. This is another situation. I was seeing a man, reproductive endocrinologist, basically wrote me off. Said, you're young and we don't consider your first miscarriage a miscarriage because it was so early. So you really only have one miscarriage. Is very invalidating to my grief and feelings of loss. And he basically said, I'm not really going to do anything for you. So go home. We went home and tried. And it was another year. At that age, it was, your two things to tell you to go to a fertility specialist is 3 miscarriages or a year of trying with no pregnancy. So I'm like, well, I've had 2, and now we've had another year of trying no pregnancies. So we went back. I do go back, and I decide to see a different doctor at a different location because I was not satisfied with the way that man handled. And I love my reproductive endocrinologist. She's amazing. She validated my feelings right away. And she was like, I'm confident we can get you pregnant. And she said, I'm not going to waste your time with IUI. Try IVF, but we'll try genetic testing. So we were set to start IVF, and I had ordered my medicines. The day before I start, I get a call. It's March 2020, and COVID's a thing, and we have to cancel your IVF.
Oh.
So this is literally the day before. It's March 2020, and they canceled my IVF. And so I'm asking them, well, when can we start up again? And they're like, we do not know. We don't know when we'll be allowed to start doing this again. So that was another heartbreak because I was about to start this IVF, which is supposed to save me from this journey of infertility and loss. And I have no idea when I can start it again.
And the uncertainty of the entire population, and then you add this on top of that.
Yep. So then come end of April, May of 2020, they reach out to me and they're like, we can start back up again. We can do this. So I started back up again, and they always do a pregnancy test. Turns out I was naturally pregnant. And then carried that one. So.
Okay, that's your son.
Nope, I miscarried this 3rd pregnancy.
So, oh my God. And how far into it?
I think it was 7 or 8 weeks. And so I had to go through another medically assisted miscarriage because my body wasn't getting rid of it on its own. And I had to do this all during COVID, where I didn't have any support because nobody, we're not allowed to be near people. And all of my doctor's appointments, my husband wasn't allowed to go with me. It was just me on my own. And it was just horrible. Going to the ultrasound, because 2 of my 3 miscarriages, I found out at my first ultrasound. So this 3rd miscarriage, I go alone because finding out it's a miscarriage, and then I'm having miscarriage without support of friends and family. It was the most depressing situation of my life. I also thought that this natural pregnancy was going to save me from the stress of IVF, but I lose it again. And so they told me that we can start IVF as soon as the pregnancy hormone leaves my body. And it took 4 more months for the pregnancy hormone to leave my body. So I had blood draws every 2 weeks for 4 months waiting for the pregnancy hormone to leave.
So now you're getting yourself picked and prodded for blood.
Yep. Just, yep.
Are you guys lucky in having your son on your first round of IVF?
Yes. Yep. So November 2020, we did our transfer, like our IVF transfer, and it stuck. He was my first round. And in our first round, we got 6 embryos, 5 of which tested genetically normal. The 6th was undefined, a lab error. They can't give me any answers for that one. So my son was the first round, the first embryo, he stuck. And then my second pregnancy here, which is actually a girl, she was an embryo from that first round, and she was the first transfer we tried that we actually got to transfer, because I had a couple of transfers canceled with my lining not responding. But so this was the first transfer that we actually transferred an embryo, and she stuck too. So we're lucky in the sense that both times that we used it, like transferred an embryo, they have stuck.
Can I tell you, I'm so good at like bringing the whole thing back to me every time I have a conversation like this. I don't know what it is. I have a sixth sense for picking people's names out randomly from that Facebook group of the most insane stories. Like my numbers are so good on this. Like once in a while, like actually recently I had 2 women that I interviewed, and it was idyllic. They're like, I had an amazing experience giving birth, and I sneezed and I got pregnant. Like, but like the majority is not the case.
Yeah. Sneezed and then you got pregnant.
Oh, I was just saying, Bean. That's not true at all. I was just saying, it's not true, Bean. You can't sneeze and get pregnant. Don't worry. Okay? She's really listening to me, you know?
Yeah.
Hey guys, look at my mustache.
Okay, listen, it's not her own mustache, it's plastic. Can you not put that in your face?
Look at my mustache.
Okay.
Achoo.
Okay, so also, would it be true that you only had to do like the injections one time because you're using embryos from that one time?
Yeah. So basically, you can think of IVF as being split into 2 halves. So there's the the follicle stimulation where you're just like, they give you all these hormones and inject to stimulate and make a lot of eggs. So then they retrieve those eggs, called an egg retrieval. You can either go into a fresh where you retrieve those eggs, they fertilize them, they become an embryo, and immediately put it in. Or you can go to a frozen embryo transfer where they will freeze the embryo. And this is what they usually do more nowadays, because it gives your body a chance to like recover from all that like hormones that you just pumped into your body. So like it seems there's a little bit higher success if you take like a little break between the egg retrieval and then the embryo transfer. So because I had 6 embryos, 5 of which are like, well, the 6th one's on hold with indefinite. I don't have to do the follicle stimulation phase, that is like 12 to 14 days of shots in the stomach of all like up to 4 shots in the stomach a day. But when you're prepping for the embryo transfer, you have estrogen and progesterone that you have to do. And estrogen is usually a pill that you take, or it could be a vaginal suppository, or both. And then progesterone is usually what they say, progesterone and oil, and you do an intramuscular injection into your glutes. They also do progesterone in vaginal suppositories, but most of the time, if you're doing suppository, you're also doing the injection. Estrogen and progesterone for about 2 weeks before transfer, and then if transfer is successful, you do it until 10 weeks of pregnancy. So a shot in the butt every day for 10 weeks straight.
Oh, well, geez. Okay, so your husband doesn't feel bad at all about doing all the dishes.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here. He's cool doing the dishes.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so I got my eggs frozen, so I am intimately aware as well of these shots.
Yes.
And all of that. So amazing that you didn't have to do it more than once. And then also, bonus, your eggs are all younger.
Yes.
Than your current age, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think I was 32 at the time.
Can you imagine trying for 3 kids in your life?
So yes, but now no. So I had always wanted three, but now like it took 3 years to get to my son and then over a year to get to this pregnancy. And I'm just like, it both times have taken way longer than I wanted to. So I'm like, if it takes like by the time I'm ready for another to track for another baby, it's going to be at least a year from now, like at least a year from now. And then it's probably going to take me like another year or so. I'm like, I'm going to probably be in my 40s at this point, and I'm just tired. Like, I'm tired. If it was my first child at 40, I'd probably still be trying for it. But I will have had two babies at that point. I'm tired. I've had two babies and a lot of infertility. I'm good. I think this is it.
Yeah, this story is epic. Sarah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to turn this into a 2-part because there's so much happening in the story. Like I have no idea too, walking into these because I could, but I don't ask a lot of questions. Like I don't prep a lot. Like I'm just like, okay, I think you have probably an amazing story. Every woman I talk to has an amazing story, whatever it happens to be, because motherhood and pregnancy, there's just so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Like what we go through is just, and some of us more than others, you, for example. So because of the difficulty to even be pregnant, do you think it kind of like makes the whole thing, like the fact that you're so nauseous, it's less bad? Is it less bad because it was so hard to become pregnant?
No, actually, I feel it's the worst. Like,
really?
Yeah, it's just like, this is why I go to therapy, because like I'll get really down on myself and I'm like, getting pregnant was hard. My pregnancies are hard. The delivery was hard. It just looks like none of this is easy for me. And so I'll get like really bummed. And like sometimes I'm like, was it not destined for me to have children? And so the universe is like punishing me because I went against what it wanted. And like, obviously, rationally, I know that's not true.
Right.
It's just something that goes through my mind and I discuss at therapy. So yeah, it almost like compounds it all. It's just like, feels like so heavy because it's like, none of this is easy for me.
Yeah. I mean, this story, I have to tell you, I'm very honored to be the bearer of the stories. I don't know if you've listened to the podcast at all, but it's just like, you guys put your stories in my hands, and what over 200 episodes of this freaking podcast is that we obviously can take so much.
Yeah.
Like no one's been broken, as I can tell.
I came close to it. I did. Like, to be honest, to bring it back to like Ariel's, after my second miscarriage, so I had the first two in 2018, I spiraled. I started to, lose the joy in the things I usually did. So I actually took a lot of time off of Ariel. Like I quit one of my jobs in the middle of like my, like, it was when it was the school year or whatever. So I feel bad about it today, but like I also, looking back on it, I was like, I physically and mentally couldn't anymore. I needed to leave. It wasn't good for me or the students. I quit my job. I stopped taking classes. I stopped training. And that went on for like 9 months straight. I did not touch an aerial apparatus for like 9 months. So it almost broke me. The break that I had for my mental health with Ariel, I like look at myself from like videos and pictures of me as an aerialist in 2018. I'm like, I will never get back to that. Like, I just don't have the time or the energy. I took 9 months off when I was having my mental health crisis. If I had known at the time that was like my peak, I would have appreciated it.
Usually people don't bear me speechless. Also my brain's really having a hard time generally today, but do you have advice for women who are going through losses or IVF?
Yeah. They should know they are not alone. It is a absolutely horrible thing to be a part of, like to be in the community, but the community itself is the best, that has the people. Like, we're all there to support. Feel like you have to suffer in silence. Reach out to people. I had some people in my life that were there for me. If they listen to this podcast, a lot of them will know. My hand through my losses. They helped me and gave me through IVF, like better ways of taking medication and like things like that. And I've been very active. I'm on like a Facebook group telling people how to make their injections more comfortable. So reach out. Don't suffer in silence. Definitely reach out to the infertility and loss community. We are here for you. We know exactly how it feels, and we don't want you to feel alone. So reach out.
My listeners, if you would honor me with a 5-star rating and review, I would appreciate it forever. It is the hardest thing about being a podcaster is to get your podcast out to the people who want to listen. So the best way to do that is to have a good star rating and just ride that algorithm. So I really appreciate if you guys would just open the Apple app and leave me a review. It makes such a difference. I appreciate you. I also have Greener Grass with Digitant Podcasts with my friend Kelly McVeigh. If you want to hear my voice twice a week, it's there for you. It's light, it's heartfelt, and we bring on some really amazing guests. All right, my friends, over and out. This is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is The Expecting Aerialist.